Hello, welcome again to What Your Builder Doesn't Want You to Know. Thank you for joining us. I will start, as I always do, by saying please like this video, share it, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment down below. Do that right now. The thumb is just there. Please click on that. Tonight we're going to be talking about the various accreditations that construction companies can attain and what they mean to you when you're considering instructing someone to do work on your property. So it's quite a sprawling subject, and I'm going to try and narrow it down as best I can. So we're going to separate things out into a few different categories. Is it past yet, Bobby? Okay, great. So it's past, so we can get started. So thank you for joining us. Please share this video. If you're watching live, it is by far the best thing you can do to help and to show your support for what we're doing. Also, please leave a comment down below. Ask us a question. We'd be delighted to get involved in communication with you about any of the subjects we cover tonight or anything you want to see covered in the future. So, when you look in a newspaper, or you look online, or you see on a van travelling down the road, all these signs and symbols and accreditations that go with builders, I'm going to try and decipher for you what they mean. And I'm going to try and decipher what they mean to someone who's not in the trade, someone who's looking at instructing someone to do some work and wants to, make good decisions. That's what this series is all about. It's about trying to empower people to make good decisions. It's not about trying to promote my business. It's not about trying to find and show up people who do things differently to me. It's purely about empowering people who don't necessarily have all the tools at their disposal that we do, who work in the trade all the time, to make the best decision for them. And it's not always the same. So the accreditations that many builders have can fall into a few categories. I'm going to deal with three categories to start with that I feel encapsulate the bulk of them. So the first category we've got are your review sites. So you might see a builder that has got a checkatrade sticker on his van or a My Builder link on his website. That's a review site accreditation. Then you've got, for want of a better term, consumer protection bodies. And by them what I mean is Which and Trustmark. And then finally you've got very specific professional association bodies. So they would be things like the National Home Builder, NHBC, and the various bodies that you have to be aligned with if you're an electrician that wants to sign off work, or you're working with gas in someone's home and that kind of thing. Now, a lot of these bodies will actually fall in between categories or in more than one category, so it's not a strict segregation. So I'm going to start with the review sites, and the two most common ones, at least in my experience, are Checkatrade and My Builder, and they're both online. And the beauty of them is that you can go and look at reviews left by people that have had work done by that contractor. And critically, it means you can leave your review at the end of the work. Now, it serves several purposes. One of the great ones is you can look back through the history, and if someone's having reviews uploaded for the last 8 years, it tells you straight away that they've been trading a decent amount of time, and you should have a decent set of reviews to look at. If someone's been trading 8 years and they've only got 3 reviews up there, ask why. Ask yourself why, and then ask the contractor why. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion based on my experience, they kind of go in an order of difficulty to acquire, and I would say that My Builder would be, of the main ones that we all know, the easiest one to get yourself aligned with. You need to provide just a few references, and then pretty much you're up and running. They do some checks, but the checks aren't as extensive as some of the others. I think from memory they sort of ring and check that you answer the phone in a professional manner and that kind of thing. The next step up in terms of vigorous checking would be checkatrade. And again, I want to make really, really clear, this is my experience. So if you're from checkatrade or you're from My Builder and you disagree, please let me know. I'd be delighted to be corrected if I am wrong, but in my experience, this is how it works. So in checkatrade, certainly with us, they came into our office. I think My Builder may want to see your public liability insurance, but I know for a fact checkatrade do, and they want to contact more references. Now, when it comes to these sites, the only thing I would guard against is the cynical amongst us might find it easy to subvert the review process. And what I mean by that is I could get my gran to leave me a review, and that would help me get to the requisite number I needed to be approved. So when you are checking these references, ask the builder, can I see pictures of the work that this reference is referring to? Is it on your site, on your website? If not, why not? Can I go and look at it? Just make sure that the references you're looking at are genuine, because in some cases I know of stories where they haven't been. Then moving up a level of vigorousness insofar as checks, the next one would be that I'm aware of is the Federation of Master Builders. So these sort of fall between the consumer protection bodies and the review sites, because there are reviews available through the FMB website, but they also try and act in line with a consumer rights sort of stance more than some of the others. They definitely will come and vet actual work. So this is the first accreditation I'm mentioning this evening of a company that will actually visit a building site that you're working on and check that your work is up to a certain standard. They do align themselves with a government body, and they are more vigorous again with their background checks. They check for directors' history in terms of insolvencies and CCJs and things like that. So, you know, they're a good one. If take the reviews to one side, in terms of just the accreditation itself, FMB does mean something. A level above that, again, in my mind, in terms of the vigorousness of their checks, would be Which. And Which, when we became a Which trusted trader, recommended trader, or whatever they call it, their checks were even more vigorous. They made us reword some of our terms and conditions. Their whole ethos is one of consumer rights and consumer protection. So if someone is being recommended by Which, you know, you can be pretty sure that they have been vigorously checked. I'm using that word a lot because it is, you know, the best way to describe what they do. But, you know, they really do look into the background of the directors. They look into the working practices of the company. They look into making sure that that company deals with their clients on a fair playing field. They look at the complaints process and all that thing. So of the four main ones that I'm familiar with, it would go My Builder, checkatrade, FMB, and then Which, in terms of how stringent the joining process is. I want to make it very, very clear at this point that any one of those, even though I'm saying that joining process is more stringent than others as you work on a spectrum. Any one of those is far better than nothing at all. When you're picking from a random lineup, if you, in the absence of other information, any one of those is a far better judge of the company you're going to be instructing than no information at all. I just want to make that clear. So I'm certainly not saying that My Builder is awful. Steer away from My Builder. Absolutely not. Quite the opposite. I'm saying in the absence of any other information, that's a great tool. However, in my opinion, there are even better ones. Another thing I want to make super duper clear at this point is that all 4 of these have some kind of subscription membership fee or a charge per lead they generate or job that you do. So these are all paid for services by the contractor. I just want to make that really clear in the interest of transparency. Now, another massive benefit that all 4 of these have are in the area of dispute resolution. And I'm going to go into that now in just a brief outline. The options are twofold. Firstly, just the threat of leaving a bad review is a genuine motivator and concern and reason for builders who might otherwise not worry themselves to make sure you're happy and to make sure that they do everything they can to fulfill their contract. So just knowing that you're dealing with someone who has this medium within which you can put your points across to the wider world is a definite advantage. The second way is that many of these services, I know for a fact the Federation of Master Builders and Which, but I'm not saying the others don't, I don't know, they definitely also offer arbitration services. So they offer a service whereby they would come in and you could say as the client, look, we used this contractor based on the fact that you recommended them on your website. We're not happy with the work and we would like you to come in as an independent body and resolve this situation. And they can come in and arbitrate on a neutral ground. So that's the main, the bulk of what I wanted to talk about this evening. There are a couple of other accreditations that I want to touch on as well. They're not as significant insofar as choosing a contractor to the vast majority of work, but they are significant in their own right. So first of all, you've got the professional associations and governing bodies, so NHBC, the Corgi registration and things like that. If you're having any work done that includes electrical work with gas, work with oil or any kind of boiler and even wood burning stoves, all these things, because of the dangers involved in them, they have to be signed off by a competent person who has passed the relevant certificate in that subject. So an electrician should be registered with the NEC, EIC or Alexa. There may well be others. A plumber who's working with gas should be registered with Gas Safe or Corgi. I don't pretend to be an expert on these, but I know what I need for the projects I manage. Now, the main contractor may not be, and that's not a problem, so long as whoever does the installation is and signs it off suitably. So be aware of what your project entails, be aware of what sort of accreditation you need to be involved in that process, and just make sure that everything is done above board and correctly. A couple more points just before I move on. If you're still watching, thank you. If you just joined us, thank you. Please share this video. It's really important to us. It makes all the difference in the world. If you want to support us and show that you gain something out of these and you benefit from them, press the like button. Do it now. Leave us a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. So now that's aside. Quickly moving on, just do a couple of really quick points. There's also health and safety accreditations. One of the big ones now is something called CHAS, C-H-A-S, which encapsulates several others. An example is SIPS, S-S-I-P-S. If someone shows you an accreditation, you don't know what it is, look it up. If it's a health and safety accreditation, have a look at how vigorous an accreditation it is. The reason I say that is because CHAS, for example, for want of a better term, Mickey Mouse outfit is going to have the CHAS accreditation. It's a real thing. You have to have some quite serious paperwork behind you in terms of your health and safety policies to achieve the CHAS accreditation. So anyone that's got that, they're probably doing quite a lot of things right in the back office department. So anything health and safety wise, the more they've got, again, these are just pointers to go into the pot to help us make a decision, but the more things they've got like that, the better. It can only be a good thing. Another category would be approved installers of certain products. So, for instance, here at Mintern, we are an approved installer of several products. Off the top of my head, artificial grass, manufactured by a fantastic company called Grono. We are an approved installer. Now, what that means to you is that our installers have been to the Grono office, they've had a thorough training course, a day-long session, and it means that if we're installing their products come with a lifetime guarantee, as well as the workmanship which we would guarantee. So there's that. There's also Tobermoor, who are a manufacturer of paving products. Again, we're an approved installer, which means that we've been vetted, we've had our work checked as we've done it, and it means that their products, if we install them, would come with a 25-year guarantee versus someone else installing them who wasn't an approved contractor. So there are definitely some advantages there as well, but it's horses for courses, and it depends on your project and what you're having done and what your goals are. So that's pretty much all I've got for this evening. Hopefully you found it useful. If you have, please share it, please like it, and I would love it if you could leave us some comments about what you'd like us to discuss in the future. Next week, we're going to be talking very specifically about when you're having work done, who should buy the materials. Should you buy the materials yourself and have the contractor provide the labour, or should the contractor provide the whole lot? There are some quite serious implications potentially to the warranties provided, the cost of the job, and the control you have over the job, and you might be surprised by how your decision can affect those things. So please tune in next week when I'll be talking in some detail about that subject. In the meantime, you know the deal: like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.